Hello and welcome to Unspooled. Today we're going to begin our three-part look at the recent prequel/reboot trilogy to Planet of the Apes. Today we shall begin with the first movie in the trilogy, Rise of the Planet of the Apes from 2011, directed by Rupert Wyatt and starring James Franco and Freida Pinto. Now, this is a fine movie. It's solid for what it tries to do. Now, my biggest issue with this film is more so that it's not particularly interesting from a plot perspective. I'm not terribly engaged in this plot because the plot essentially is James Franco, as a scientist, develops this drug that turns apes smart and, in theory, can be used to treat and cure Alzheimer's disease, is ultimately what this drug is being developed to do and to be used for, but it also has this effect on apes that it enhances their brain growth and makes them smarter to the point where eventually we get, at the end of the movie, they can talk, kind of, sort of, in this movie, sort of. Caesar can say one word.
Yes. Yes.
Now, I don't find that plot particularly interesting. Honestly, this film also does kind of fall short of my expectations for what I thought we could get out of a prequel trilogy to Planet of the Apes, which we'll talk about that more when we get into Dawn. But with this movie, Franco is great. He is very, very good in this film. Andy Serkis as Caesar. He doesn't really have to do a lot in this film, but he is still good when he has to do things. And a lot of the visual effects are great. The movie looks very nice. But I didn't really care for it from a story perspective. And I thought a lot of the sequences with the comic relief sequences with their neighbor, whose name I don't remember, the dude from Stargate Atlantis, I know that. But I don't remember what his name is. Anyway, I don't really care for those scenes. I don't really know why we have to have them, besides we need something for Caesar to do here. Just ultimately, it's an interesting starting point. Honestly, it's an interesting starting point. It's the same thing that Prometheus and Alien Covenant have done for the Alien franchise, which is given us an interesting starting point to the franchise, but not a terribly great film, although that's different when we get into the Alien movies. But with this one, it's an interesting starting point, just nothing spectacular or terribly memorable or one I really want to watch too often, if ever again, honestly. I did give this a 78%, but it's nothing spectacular. Honestly, you could probably skip this one if you're going to watch the trilogy. You could probably skip this one and not really miss anything, honestly. Except you might be a little confused with some of the plot in the next two, but I think you'd get it well enough.
Okay. My review, did we really need, another reboot of this franchise? Boy. Well, as it turns out, yes. This movie serves as a prequel to the '68 sci-fi classic, while at the same time it reboots the franchise.
It's after the Burton disaster, yes.
Yes, after the Burton complete disaster. One movie you reboot after that, for sure, if you're going to. See, this is the movie that Planet of the Apes fans, we've been wanting for over 40 years, in my opinion. The CGI apes in this movie, they're just unbelievable. Not in a bad way. They are really fantastic. Caesar, to me, superbly done, and he's actually the star of the show. He steals the movie. The visuals are pretty good. The plot's pretty good to me. You know, there's just a few small holes here and there in the plot, but I think that's where future sequels will fill in those plot holes. The acting's not too bad. You know, this is a pretty good start on the franchise reboot to me. I just hope they can continue with the rest of the trilogy being at least this good. I gave it an 85. Yeah, it needs a little work here and there on, you know, I don't know if I've ever seen a movie that didn't have a slow point here or there, but I thought they kept that to a minimum. So 85 for the first of the new trilogy.
Well, that will do it on this episode of Unspooled. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more great content like this. And until the next episode, goodbye.